So a while back, I had the occasion to make telephone calls to places in the South. And I was somewhat amazed. I thought I was going to hear people talking like this. But in actuality, it was like making a phone call across town. The various people I spoke to on the telephone had absolutely no trace of any kind of accent at all. This was in Dallas, Texas, Fort Worth area. And the places that I called, some of them were professional places, but otherwise, uh, this involved ordinary people. So a lot of things have changed since this period of time in the 1960s until now. But a lot of things haven't changed because conservatives don't want them to change. Sometimes I watch MSNBC. I don't like to particularly because of the television commercials. And I had a sheet of paper somewhere. I wrote down all of the different sponsors that appeared on this television show, and it took up it was an hour show, and it took up two sides of notebook paper, and it was just single spaced, which I found somewhat amazing. So I don't usually watch that, but the way I understand this is Fox is the conservative channel, and MSNBC is the Democratic Party channel. I guess RT is it might be a little bit to the left, or it's the Ron Paul channel. I don't know. I get pretty bored with all of it, though, to be honest with you. But getting back to this topic at hand, the green revolution, or Obama's going green, it seemed to be a large part of his campaign, but I don't hear much about it anymore. And this Jag and Johnny guy is really like, rubbing his nose right into it. I don't know what happened if they had this vote or not. But I got sick of waiting to see what the outcome of it was going to be. And I don't really care what the outcome of it is. I've had people take $1,000 away from me. I mean, that's just peanuts. Not because I'm a rich person, but because the United States of America is jam packed full with thieves and cheats and hustlers and thieves and all kinds of people who are just crazy over that spoonful. They do just anything to get that little spoonful. So one of these shows, I think it was Morning Joe show on MSNBC, they had that T Boone Pickens on there. Now, back in the 80s, T Boone Pickens, he was like this sacred holy figure that we were, they put him on television, and the Southern Democrats, as well as the Republicans, said you have to worship and adore this person. He is a holy man because he does something with oil. He has something to do with oil. So there was some young man on this show that asked him about tax fairness. And old T Boone's ass said, I pay $656 million in taxes. You think that's fair? Well, all of these people having been pre-programmed by 20 Mule Team Boraxo, Mr. Raygun, in the 1980s were like, oh, T Boone Pickens, oh, we don't know what to say. We don't know what to say. How could they do such a terrible thing to you? I would have asked him, well, T Boone, what do you think? Do you think this is fair? Your capitalist counterparts imported all of these people in from Europe and other places. completely disconnected them with any access to the earth at all, put them in these barrack-like houses, and had them as work slaves for manufacturing concerns. And people like you profited off of that. You think that's fair? What do they have now? You think that's fair? What about you, T. Boone? All the money that you made, your 70,000 acre ranch that you got your pipelines going through, how did you get those things? By being a social parasite. What would you have done if an economy had not been built and made possible by money that's supplied by the United States government, that made this economic system that became or built around or evolved around gasoline and oil and petroleum distillates? What would you have done? You profited by that. You didn't make it, you profited by it. You think that's fair? Well, I think you ought to pay your fair share of it too. If it's $656 million and that's fair, then it's fair. It probably isn't fair. You probably got one hell of a bargain. I mean, how many people in the United States get to have a 70,000 acre ranch? Which is another pertinent aspect or point to this whole thing. When you look at the 99% and the 1%. Because on the one hand, this 1% are people like T. Boone. They got, a 100,000 acre ranch somewhere. They got everything that they could possibly want in terms of access to the earth. They have water, air, plenty of land if they wanted to grow their own food. Certainly enough money to buy it from anyone that they want to get it from. Organic food, red salmon from the ocean. They could get whatever they want. It's a small group of people, and they control most of the wealth. They get what they want. So what do we mean to them? They don't even know who we are. I doubt that they even know that we exist. So is their actual existence, their existence, is it really that pertinent, or should it be pertinent to us in terms of justice? But I think a more pertinent question to ask, are these the people that really do the harm? Because I hear a lot about the middle class. I was never a member of the middle class. I've always been poor. My family was poor. My father worked terribly difficult jobs his whole life. He had back problems and so on. We never had, before he died, I thanked him. I said, Dad, I just want to thank you and let you know how much I appreciate the fact and what a luxury it is having heat and hot water. Now I don't make a big issue out of that like some people do. But it is the reality that we're dealing with. I mean, how many people are the middle class? How many of us that bitch and complain are the middle class? How many people in the middle class are represented by the Republican Party as opposed to the Democratic Party? Yet we hear all of this upward mobility. Supposedly, we're supposed to be upwardly mobile. We're supposed to be the yuppies that are going to become middle class. It's like, oh, what I've always wanted. I've always wanted to be middle class. Nobody wants to be middle class. The United States, Madison Avenue, advertising, whatever you want to refer to it as, makes you want to be rich. They want to make, the idea is you want to be the 1%. You don't want to be some born middle class person. So these boring middle class people, these are the people that are upwardly mobile. These are the people that are more likely to screw you over, fuck you over, steal your money, do these mortgage banking schemes to try to go up. They want to move it on up. They want to become the 1%. I can't imagine what a person would do with $1 million. I'm perfectly happy what I have here. I have a small my property is 100 feet wide, 180 feet deep. I think I've got I'm pretty well off. I think just having that. It's small, and if the government was had any real interest in their duties and obligations regarding the control and regulation of nuisance and things like that, so that it was quiet, so that children weren't barking and dogs weren't frolicking, and I could just have a peaceful existence. But I admit it has been pretty peaceful around here. What more could I possibly want? I mean, if I go beyond what I have now, I mean, I could get new windows. I could always use things like that and maintenance and whatnot. But I mean, anything beyond that is going to be just sheer opulence. So what do these people need with all this money? I mean, how much money do they need? What the hell do they do with it? It's an ego trip. It's megalomania. It's either for power or it's for the acquisition of things to impress someone. And you could analyze that all you want. But I think that more criticism is due to the idea of promoting that sort of want and desire to succeed than there is to just say, here's this guy that's has a 100,000 acre ranch and he doesn't bother anybody. Or maybe Robert Redford. Robert Redford seems to be interested in these various green initiatives and things, and he's surely a member of the 1%, I would think. So it's a nice thing to use as a reference point, but in seriousness, I get irked when I hear the Democrats, all they talk about are jobs. It's like the best thing that you could possibly ever want or expect from a Democrat is they're going to bribe someone to give you a job. It's like, what do I want more than anything in life? Do you want like a trophy wife or a trophy piece of ass? Well, you got to have a job. Well, can't I just get laid? Nope, you got to pay for it. Well, can't I just get shit-faced? Nope, you got to pay for it. Whatever it is that you want, you have to pay for. And the only way that you get that is to have a job or by ripping people off. Those are the only alternatives. And nobody is addressing that. When I turn on MSNBC, all I see are people bitching about, let the Democrats be the Democrats. We need jobs. That's what people want. People want jobs more than they want water, more than they want food, more than they want shelter. Or is it that they already have those things and those are the only people that we're talking about? So I think in terms of just as a matter of justice, our perception has to be adjusted to doing something that is going to effectuate a change for the betterment of humanity. Now, I agree that some of these people, that this 1% and maybe like 5% or 10% below that, have it made. They don't have anything to worry about. The only thing that they have to worry about is some people like us having some kind of rebellion like you see in these movies about the communist revolution, going in and taking over their ranch or busting up their museum pieces or whatever. But I mean, aside from that, what else is there that they have to worry about? So it's like common defense. That's the thing. Common defense. Protecting their property, protecting their land. And they extrapolate that and say, well, you have to destroy communism completely and thoroughly, otherwise the communists are going to come in and loot and ransack your ranch.